Hi guys, how's it going? So we are out today to do the overnight test for this here 72-hour Quake Kit's survival kit. Now, I've already done a dedicated breakdown of everything that is in this, and then the only other thing on the outside there is I grabbed a jacket. We'll talk more about that whenever I get to a spot that looks decent for what we're trying to accomplish. But hiking around with this so far, you feel the weight a bit on your shoulders. It's not that heavy. I'm just really used to having a waist belt, and this just has your sternum strap, so no biggie there. It's been busting through some decently dense brush, looking for spot that will be relatively comfortable, and we're somewhat close to a stream, so okay, so I think this spot will work out fairly well because we're kind of sheltered around this area. There's a very, very faint small game trail right here, but nothing more than squirrels or rabbits or possums are coming up through there, so I don't think that'll be any cause for concern. I really like, I forget what this stuff is called, but it is, anytime you see this growing, normally the ground is kind of soft, and this gives you a bit of springiness, and it's comfortable to lay on. We will need to gather up some leaf debris, like fall has started, but the ground isn't littered with new leaf debris. So, okay, so right now the temp is about 42 degrees. As we get right at the middle of the day, it's supposed to be getting up to about 60, and then tonight the low is 40. So didn't add anything else to this pack out of my kit other than a jacket. Well, this is actually a shirt. This is the Arctis Mammoth shirt, and it looks a lot bulkier than it is warmth. Like, the packability of this isn't like you're going to get with like an insulated jacket. So the last camp we did, I wore this down in the low 40s with just like with a t-shirt, and you know, still moving around I was good, but if you sit around for too long, the cold kind of starts to creep in. But for my rule, since this is an emergency kit, I thought, okay, I lent myself, I couldn't even remember which jackets I had hung up by the door. I just had a rain jacket and then this, so that's why I went with this. And there's two compression straps that are on this backpack, one on each side here, and it's perfect if you want to run the sleeves of a jacket, of any jacket, through those and cinch them down, and then this will ride on the back. If this was to have been a rain jacket, it would have essentially had a pack rain cover. This is water resistant, but then you can just pull the sleeves out like so, and then there's your jacket. So I'm going to just hang this up somewhere so ain't stuff crawling in it. I'm going to be trying to test out as much as we can. I guess also the only things that I technically added to it, but still from Quake Kit, still, you know, part of their lineup, is a arc lighter. Probably won't use that on this go round. One of their probably slightly higher end emergency sleeping bags. It's like a Mylar bag. This does come with the kit. I just took it out to hone the edge a little bit, or Swiss Army style pocket knife, and I just had that in the top compartment. The lantern. Now I'm going to leave this lantern out because it's a very overcast day. So the solar abilities of this, the red light's on me, and it's still getting some charge from the UV light that's breaking through the clouds there. So I have this set out because I've already misplaced this specialized cable. My one recommendation to them would be everything in this, like the crank radio and stuff, needs to be USB, micro USB or USB Type C ideally, just for the most compatibility, because having to search around for specialized chargers to keep track of them is difficult in the best of times, at least for me. So in an emergency, that might be kind of a hard thing to do. So I'm going to set this somewhere where it can hopefully get the most light exposure for now. Get some stuff out that we're going to need. So don't need any hygiene right now. Shelter and warmth, we'll be getting to that soon. Tools in here. We are going to be putting the gloves that they give us to the test. Don't want to lose our sewing kit because we do need to remove some of this debris here. Also got our cordage in there. Okay, so right here is the primary food and water bag, not to confuse it with the add-on, additional add-on, which has like our freeze-dried meals and utensils in it. So yeah, this is where we got all our packets of drinking water, water purification tablets, and our Matrix. This is what, a 3,600 calorie food bar. So we got that. Putting up a bag of our water. They're on the back, so drink no water first 24 hours unless sick or injured or in desert conditions. Thereafter, approximately 8 ounces to each 4-ounce bags per day. So hard to not reach down because I still have my personal EDC on me. I'm not going to be using it for anything, so we're just going to be using what we got on the kit, but I always have my personal EDC on me. So here we go, bottoms up. Tastes like water. Doesn't have any weird taste to it, no chemically taste, no fluoride, nothing like that. Definitely tastes better than any public water fountain I've ever had the misfortune of needing to use, so not bad. I've also not eaten anything today. I have only had coffee because I know I wasn't going to be getting anything like that in this. So I'm really debating on making one of these freeze-dried meals kind of early on now, but I don't think that's that interesting. So let's go with cracking this brick open. This tear here. Okay, then there was a hiss. Okay, and that's what I was hoping. These are still kind of individually wrapped, and I think like a cellophane, maybe. So let's take 2 of these biscuits here. I'm gonna call them biscuits. Okay, and these just smell like a plain dry cookie. You're not gonna be getting through these without some water. This tastes like, if you've ever had any of those cheap holiday tinned what's supposed to be sugar cookies but end up just tasting pretty bland and flavorless, that's what this tastes like. It's not unpleasant. I like this way more than one of these, and I'm put it up, one of these types of calorie food bars that was cakey. That one was a lot harder to eat, and I think I drunk, without exaggeration, almost 2 liters of water trying to down like 4 squares of it because it just absorbed all the moisture in your mouth. This doesn't do that to that extent. It's not hard, it's really light and airy. Because it doesn't really have a flavor, there's nothing about about this that I think would get old, really. Well, so that's 2 of my emergency drinking waters already down. What I'm going to do is we'll just turn one of these into our trash bag. Okay, but that is our snack. We're snacked up. Let's take and figure out how we're going to go about doing our shelter, because that's what's going to take the most work and time to properly organize. So, warmth and shelter. We have got our emergency tube tent. We've got our emergency sleeping bag. We've got our hand warmers, so up to 18 hours. These are going to be a real lifesaver. And then we've got our poncho. So poncho, that would be our rain gear. Hand warmers ain't going to come into play. And now with this setup, we can make it work with just this. But because I wanted to test out their other Mylar sleeping bag, is we're going to open both of these after we get the tent situated and figure out which one we want to make use for our browse bed and which one we want to actually crawl inside of. So tent open. Always important to avoid cutting your shelter. So yeah, 6 by 8, that's the dimensions. I don't know if it tells, it says includes a 25-foot rope. That's what our rope looks like, some type of nylon cordage. Just want to keep the knots simple and try to avoid having to cut this at all. Okay, so that reaches with plenty left over. Now, just got to see where our footprint is. Pretty close up against that tree because that'll cut back on what all I need to remove here. And with that angle, it should, I think we got that sapling, which is never going to amount to anything because of the tree cover above. Got this briar here with plastic. I mean, that's all it is, just a plastic tube. Pretty straightforward. I do wish when they made these, they left one end closed and then had a pass through or something, but there's not a lot to do about that. So yeah, you want to put that through. This cord has a lot of stretch to it. The gloves that come with this though, they're very, very grippy and offer pretty solid dexterity. I would much rather have these gloves than those like cheap gray colored work gloves. Be able to raise it up just a little bit because we don't really need it that wide. There's plenty of room though for 2 people with it that wide. Okay, that opens things up fairly well. Peek at the inside, and then we'll have our bag set off to one side too, which will kind of push one of the walls out to give us a little bit more room. Okay, so now I want to open both of these up and we're going to see which one we want to use for our browse bed. I'm really happy it's not windy, just for the sake of recording. This stuff can be done, and it's not that much more difficult to do it depending on how windy it actually is. But I know this stuff makes a god-awful noise for recording's sake. So this is just your standard Mylar. This isn't going to have much give. There's no stretch to this. I think this one has a bit more stretch, which normally that's what I would use for a browse bed, but we'd be needing to turn this one inside out anyways. Yeah, this one does have a bit more stretch to it. But I'm gonna be careful and not put any. I want to take and use one with a bit of stretch because I'm gonna be sleeping with my boots on. Depending on your situation, you know, wet, cold clothing, your personal body type, whatever. I know for me, it's best to sleep with my boots on in this type of environment, so I'm gonna leave this. Now you don't sleep in something reflective instead of laying on it. That's the nice thing about this one, is both sides is reflective. So you can make your brows out of this since it's brown. But you've already got this large piece of orange plastic here. And collect enough leaf debris. This is a very large sleeping bag. With leaf debris, dried grass, anything like that. Avoid sticks, sharp pointy objects to the best of your ability. And we're not going to be filling up this whole thing because there's no need to. We're just going to fill up and get plush the length towards from the bottom up that covers basically for me personally, I like to do it from the knees up. You can do your full body length. We sleep with the boots on. That'll keep us off the ground there. Okay, so I am going to spend probably the next 45 minutes doing that. You know, something I've done with one of these before, by mistake, that you don't want to do, because we want about 4 to 8, anywhere in that range for the temps. It's getting to, I'm going to be around in between 4 and 6 inches of compressed insulation. So we want to be able to add more to this later if we need to, and kind of have her sized the way we want it. But yeah, you need to be able to let some air escape this, but if you don't tie it off, everything will just push its way out the end. Down. You want the foot end, you want the tied part down towards the foot end. Very careful with wearing shoes in here. Oh yeah. But see, and now the nice thing is too, we'll have 2 layers of Mylar with that dead airspace in between it to reflect body heat back. But a debris bed like that's actually pretty comfortable. So now for some water procurement. This is the water bottle and filter combo that came with it. All I've done is, it had a sticker on it. I took it off and I just rinsed the filter and just sucked a little bit of water through it at the house, just so that the filter would be primed. That's ready to drink straight from. And then here's the bag that the aqua tabs is in. I got the aqua tabs in my pocket in a place where they can't get wet. So this. It's going to. That's the look. There is sediment. I don't know how well it'll show up. I mean, there is obviously sediment and stuff in there, but this is just a mountain stream. So unless there's something dead up above, shouldn't really be any issue. Okay, now we just want 1 of our aqua tab tablets here. It would be nice if we had a gusseted bag for this, but we do not. So we want to drop that in there. Take note of the time. And give it at least 30 minutes. Now this is one thing in a more hectic environment, or if you was doing multiple containers of water and stuff, where having that notepad and pencil that is in this kit would come in handy, because you could take and note down the time at which you put in the water purification tablet for X, Y, and Z containers. So we're going to set this somewhere where we won't kick it, and somewhere, you know, that reduces the chances of this bag getting wrecked. Now, as far as this filter goes, just trying to get it primed up. It flows really good. Where this is a softer bottle, you can assist the flow of it by squeezing it. And that'll come in really handy once this filter begins to get used up and the flow rate reduces. It'll be easier to kind of help force water through it. But safe drinking water, that is the ticket. Okay, so as far as the additional upgrades for this kit goes, we got those right here. And that is our food, utensils, and then the stove, and some matches. So I am ready. I need to take and eat one of these meals, and we'll probably have another one just so we can test those out. But those calorie biscuits will for sure do what they need to do. But let's get our metal cup off of here, and we'll use some of our purified water, even though we're going to boil this. The thermometer, we are sitting at around 53 degrees, 54, 53 degrees. So considering the time, we might only be getting to about 54, 55 as a whole. So we'll save that. That bag right there could be very useful. In case you didn't see the one video, we got Mexican style veggie bowl. We got Forever Young mac and cheese. And then a Tuscan style pasta Roma. So I'm really curious about this Mexican style veggie, and then I think the mac and cheese would be best before we go down, because that's just hearty and comfort food sounding. Then we didn't get to open this in the kit breakdown video because this right here was sealed, so I didn't really want to screw with opening it up. But now that we are out here, we can burn this later. Use this as part of our fire starting stuff. Okay, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping this wouldn't be loose. It is inside of a little plastic sleeve, a fairly thick plastic sleeve. And it's just a nesting utensil set, so will make eating our meal a lot easier, because whenever I kind of forgot that this was even in there, so I was just thinking, like, how am I going to take and consume those freeze-dried meals? But we got that covered. Here is our hexamine style stove. This is an Ultimate Survival Technologies stove. It's got the fuel in there. And then, oh, well, we just threw one of the matches out. So, this is a very solid filling hex stove. I'm for sure going to be probably taking and repurposing this into another kit. Now, I've never used their fuel, their Esprit style fuel tabs before. So I want to start with one, and we can always add another one to the equation. This is where we're going to have a fire later. I really think one's going to be plenty to get the water where we need it to be. If it doesn't boil, one should get it pretty close to boiling. So over 30 minutes. This is purified. If you wanted to just boil it, go about doing it that way. Fuel tablet burn. Right, there we go. Okay, so looks like we might have just should have started with one of the corners, because that is lit now. Go ahead. Set that on there without that interfering with the flame at all. We'll make sure our handle is kind of off somewhere that will be more away from the direct flame. Sweet. Alrighty, well now I'm going to look at my watch, figure out where we're at, and then we'll see how long this takes to get going. Okay, got the oxygen absorber out, and that right there is what our first meal is looking like dry. Okay, so roughly 9 minutes in, we have got a boil going. One thing I did want to note though is the paint on this side of the stove is starting to bubble up and is going to peel off. I don't know what's up with that, because the other side is fine. But But anyways, got a nice boil. I'm just going to let that one take and finish burning out. And then whenever it does, now it's a nice little rolling boil, we'll start adding this. I'm hoping that our gloves there will be enough for us to be able to handle this, because I do have my leather gloves with me, but the plan is to not use anything other than what is in this kit. Okay, that fire just has died down. Okay, I can actually hold it, even though these gloves are kind of thin. The handle seems to not have got too hot. Okay. This does have a nice strong smell of seasoning. I know that I think they went with all, you know, non-meat items, because no way to know if people in be using this to be vegetarian or not. You can still get a good bit of what you need without it, but I do miss not having an actual meat source of protein in this. He is rehydrated. Use most of that water, not the whole cup, but the majority of it. So now, to make it easier, because like the spoon is just kind of your standard handle length. Cut this off. And that right there is our nice bowl of food that we are left with. Looks pretty solid, smells good. Never tried this brand's freeze-dried food before, so. Yep, definitely fully rehydrated. Get just a very, very slight bit of heat from the peppers that are in this, but oddly enough, it's got a little bit of a sweetness to it. I expected it to be a lot more salty. Not sure if it's the type of beans they used or what, but it does have a bit of a sweetness to it. Either way, tastes good, and it's just really nice to have a hot meal, because with this breeze blowing, it is pretty cool. It won't be long until I'm going to be putting on that mammoth shirt. And there's a 30% chance of a really light drizzle coming through, but it won't last long even if we do get any in this particular location. It just is really overcast right now. And yeah, the Mexican style veggie bowl is really solid. To me though, this feels like I'm just eating a side as a main. So we have dipped down right near 50 degrees, so went ahead and put the old mammoth shirt on. Moving around completely fine, but as I start to be stationary, that chill with the breezes that keep blowing through, something more on. Now one thing that I've been doing to pass the time is taking and cranking up goes a squirrel. Speaking of that, going to be doing some squirrel hunting and cooking and overnighters here very soon, because it is squirrel season. But this is the radio flashlight alarm, and I think that's it, that came in this kit. One issue that I had with it is the charging cable. So this has like some type of a DC input charging cable, little circular input, and I've got the cable in the bag, and I wasn't paying attention during the kind of unboxing and kit unpacking video. Is from a DC input to a USB female cable. I don't know if there was supposed to be a male. I don't know if there's supposed to be a different cable. What happened there? But just as I'd mentioned with the lantern earlier, they should be either micro USB or ideally USB-C for everything, because that's just the easiest, regardless of where you're at. You're going to be able to find one of those two things anywhere that you find charging cables. This does have a flashlight. You got a flood and a spot, and then, well, you kind of got all three, and then more of just a single LED option there, which is good, because as long as you can crank, you've got a light source. So these types of lights really do have their place. And then there's an alarm, and then you've got a radio.
Highway 421, Wilkesboro. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Early voting started in Georgia today, and there was a big turnout. Secretary of State.
Okay, so the audio quality is good. There's not any preset. Let me turn that down. We turn that off, actually. Not any preset weather channels, which would be a nice thing to have. If there is any preset weather channels, I didn't see anything on how to access it. Then again, I might have just overlooked it when I'd done the unpacking video. So yeah, in our extra edition part, that's where our headlamp was. But as far as our light and comms bag goes, we've got this 36-hour candle. We got our light stick right there, which we're going to break to make sure it works. And then we've got our ferro rod, and that's what I want to have out right now. And my one slight criticism to this kit was without the, adding on the additional stuff at the base level, there wasn't really any fire tender. But in the hygiene kit, it was very well done. It's one of the best hygiene kits I've seen in any kit, like pre-made kit. We have some pads, which could be used for first aid and stuff, If you're an actual guy, you shouldn't need those for any other reason than first aid or fire starting, which we're going to use it for. Here in a short bit, I'm going to wait till it gets towards the edge of dark. Okay, so we'll keep the headlamp on the low. It came a bit of a very, very short sprinkle, and it seems like there's still just a slight bit of mist breaking through what little bit of tree canopy we have. If we can get a fire going with what we've got in front of us here. I'm hoping that the bubble wrap in this, where it's plastic, which should mean a bit of petroleum, will extend the burn time a bit. And I did go out and collect some sticks. I'm going to try this in a way that I don't normally do it. So yeah, like my worry with this thing is the seal is so good. I've only got it halfway in there. The seal is so good on this whistle ferro rod combo. I feel like that you could easily pull out this key ring, and then you would just be left to be able to have to pull that out by hand. And at a certain point, if you're really fatigued, your hands are wet, whatever, that's going to be hard to do. Because when I say this thing. And I just rammed my thumb into a rock right there, and that felt phenomenal. Anyways, though, that cotton right there should spark up no problem. So we're actually going to put this on top because that plastic should kind of melt down into everything. So, God, that hurt. Just jammed my thumbnail right into that rock. Okay, so should be able to. So this striker is not ideal, but there we go, that's lit. So I just been chilling by the fire. I just looked, it's around 47 degrees, I believe. And as you can see on this bag here, it is mist and rain. This is, okay, well, you can't see me. Let's see if I go over here. So this is, you know, prime territory for running into hypothermic issues if you don't have the right clothing or if you don't have shelter. Everything about here, like I guess we can call it a tent or tube tent, is holding up good. We've had some decent little gusts of wind, probably around 5 to 8 miles per hour, so nothing crazy. But just having these sized rocks in the corner is holding up good. As you can see, I've laid on this and compressed down. We've got about that much insulation of debris compressed between us and the ground all the way down almost to our knees. Once we get kind of past the pockets here on these pants is when it really tapers down where we have that cinched. But I think we're going to be good. I'm going to give it a bit longer, and because whenever I get in this for the first or second time, I want to cut down on how many times I have to get in and out of this, because you got to remember I got to film too, so that we reduce the risk of my boots or anything tearing the material, even though this is more stretchy, which is why I opted for this one over this one, well, for a couple reasons, for the one that we're going to sleep in. So if you decide to go with this kit and you're watching this video beforehand, make sure that you add this to your cart, to, you know, add this as an additional piece of gear. It's well worth the, you know, 10 plus bucks that this cost. I don't remember, but well worth it. So I've been snacking on these calorie bars, and they do kind of swell up a bit. Or swell's a strong word. They kind of, you know, once your moisture gets to them, they make you feel more full. So I think after munching on these, I'm not going to be making the mac and cheese, just because there's no real reason to, since we're doing this little bit of a survival challenge. So if you only had these, you'd be fine. I would say if you're doing just a decent amount of movement, even though the calorie count's there, as far as how you feel, that 3-day, 3,600 calorie supply would be better utilized as a 2-day. So yeah, we're just going to be sticking with these for the rest of the night. Guys, so we're around 11 o'clock. The fire's dying out, and I am getting cool. Apologies, I already took and popped that out at the top. We're going to see if we can break this up. Broke that. Shake it. Turn that off. Would like to be able to take and hang this. Okay, may or may not work. So this is what's going to make the difference between us being hot and cold. This 18-hour hand warmer. So if we can get this to fit in there, then we'll be okay. So let's take and break this open. Okay, so it's starting to warm up. I think my upper body, well, I know my upper body will be fine. But as this gets warmer, I want to try to keep it towards the bottom and my legs, because that has no additional insulation. But you don't want to keep your head in this, because condensation will immediately destroy whatever warmth you start to build up in something like this. Good morning, guys. How's it going? So it is very very windy this morning. I'm kind of surprised at the fact that this orange piece of plastic is still holding true. It's kind of funny because the lantern got pushed back and the glow stick is still hanging. It has kind of scooted the plastic almost away from these rocks. But yeah, that was a pretty interrupted night's sleep. I will say, truthfully, like having this mammoth shirt / jacket, whatever you want to call it, on worked out very well. Hand warmer. I get how they can say that it's 18-hour hand warmer because it is still slightly, like ever so slightly warm, and it made all the difference inside of this Mylar thing. There is quite a bit of condensation in here. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but where the insulation kind of tapered down, the only thing that got like cold last night was my kneecaps and my thighs. So do with that information what you will. Like keeping the boots on, all that good old stuff, feet's fine. All in all, I think this kit is a keeper. I think it's solid. Like, I know this is a wilderness survival scenario, and a lot of people that would potentially purchase this type of kit is going to be in more of an urban scenario, but just know that it works here. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you have not already, share the channel with your friends, family, anybody that enjoys good old outdoor activities. I will link to the gear that I use down in the video description. And yeah, now I just gotta get up and get all this stuff out of here. So till the next one, adios.